Welcome to the 200 Movie Challenge, where we're trying to watch 200 movies that we've never seen for the year of 2025. And today, when we end episode 30 episodes we've done of this, we're going to be at 142 movies, 58 movies to go. Holy shit, Soto. We're almost
58.
there. Like,
Okay.
I see the end of the tunnel. I see the light. It's a little dot, but I definitely
Yeah.
see it. And I'm like,
It's
we are
there.
heading there. It's there because, it's like we're
Mhm.
definitely, we're pretty much, actually, yeah, we passed the two-thirds. So this is, you know, good spot. Again, where you have a good pace. Me and you both had three movies this week, which helps because I know the average is two. Because the next few weeks might be slower, but we're going in October,
Mhm.
which is horror. Hopefully, you find horror movies you haven't seen, but we'll get to that. But
Oh, I will.
before we get into today's podcast, today's episode, Soto,
Yes.
I've seen a lot of shitty movies recently, and I know
Yeah,
I
me
do it
too.
purposely. I do it for the fun. Some I kind of know what I was getting into with Shark Side of the Moon, which thanks to you and Sharkenstein. Then I accidentally see something like Till Death, which I didn't research. I'm like, oh. So I've created a
Yeah.
mantra for September, and whether or not you want
Hmm.
to do this with me, that's up to you. I'm
Yeah.
not obviously going to force you to, and I'm
Hmm.
saying it right now. No Tubi September. I'm gonna watch because when we started this, part of the whole joke was like we haven't seen some of the newer movies, things in theaters, maybe in pop culture and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's a
Yeah.
good idea. And unfortunately, sometimes with time constraints, it's so hard that you can pop on a shitty Tubi movie for like 75, 80 minutes and you feel like you
Yeah.
get one in. But yeah, I'm like, you know what? No, September. Now, I will say something might end up being shit, but it's not going to be purposely shit. So I can't control. I'm just going to see kind of better quality, but it may turn out to be a bad movie. But yeah, so
Hmm.
no, I'm not even going to turn on the app Tubi at all for September. I'm not even going to
Wow.
search Tubi. Now, come October, because it's
Different
Halloween
story.
month, all bets
Hmm.
are off because I'm going to probably
Hmm.
mix it between, some classics I might have missed and some shit. But for September, I am looking for movies that might have, have more pop culture reference than something called Shark Side of the Moon. So that is what I'm doing. You feel free to join me, Soto. You don't have to. You do you, but I'm just telling you right now, I'm not even going to look at the Tubi app. There's nothing that this month that I need to see anyway, so I'm keeping it
Hmm.
off. So that's what I'm
Probably
doing.
a smart move. Smart move. Although Velocipaster was on Tubi, and that was a surprise. I don't know if Velocipaster is going to stay at 30 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've sobered up, but we'll see. We'll see.
uh,
You never know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the shit out of it. I would watch it again, but to be continued. I think it's time. I think because we're so close to the end,
yep.
not so close, but we can see the finish line at least. It gets tiring when you watch these shitty movies.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes a lot out of you at this part of like the marathon. You're just like, oh no, I don't want to sit through this. So yeah, but we'll see what happens in October. I'm sure October and Tubi are going to be filled with dog shit that we will watch, and it sounds like you've got some ideas of some dog shit that you want to watch in
Well,
October on Tubi. So we could take a month off.
I'm definitely taking a month off, and yes, Tubi definitely, and it's even on other channels, not just Tubi, but those movies that I might want to watch. And spoiler alert, we will discuss this off air. We've been joking about Terrifier 3 being our Christmas movie. It miraculously appeared on Peacock. So
Ugh.
maybe we hit this one up for October. We will discuss it. But so we're not in the Halloween season yet. We are in the
Not yet.
September season. So
Or the Burr months.
let's get into our movies and let's talk about the very first movie that you saw this week. Tell us why you chose this movie.
So the first movie that I saw this week, so I needed a palate cleanse, which I feel like I'm going to start saying now every single week until the end of the year. But I needed something that was a little bit different from what I've done. Something that was easily digestible. Um, I sound like I'm talking about eating, like doing a food competition, or you have these guys just being like, "What can I eat first, or what can I eat last?" That's gonna like go down easily. So I just wanted something that was gonna be smooth, and I love The Witcher. Um, game series.
Hmm.
I don't think you've played it, but
No,
I
I
I
have not.
love The Witcher. I played The Witcher 2. I played The Witcher 3, Platinum The Witcher 3, and I just enjoyed the overall story. The series, I have mixed feelings about, complicated feelings about the Netflix series with Henry Cavill. Uh, but I had heard that the original voice actor had done voice acting on an animated movie, and that movie was The Witcher Sirens of the Deep. And, hour and a half animated film, and I was like, okay, go for a ride. And, I think if you're a fan of The Witcher, I think that you'll like this a lot. The animation style, I don't know if you've seen Castlevania on Netflix, but it kind of gave me that sort of vibe. Where kind of borderline, kind of like anime, really good quality. I really love Doug Cockle as the voice of Geralt in this one. Basically, the setup is, if you don't know, Geralt is a Witcher, and he basically is a mutant. Well, he was a human, and then he went through a trial, and it gave him kind of superhuman powers and the ability to kind of fight supernatural creatures. And so regular humans will hire witchers to hunt down, any sort of werewolves or vampires that they have kicking around. And so he has one sword that's made of silver for monsters, and he has a steel sword that's for humans. And he basically goes from town to town with his bard friend. Um, and yeah, he just takes on contracts. It's a lot more, obviously, it's a lot more complicated than that. If you've played the Witcher games, there's a lot more lore and there's a lot more story to it. But that's the overall view. And so Geralt gets called um, to this kingdom where they're dealing with some issues between some sea people, some merfolk, and humans. And so he's brought on to investigate some of the killings that are happening from these underwater creatures. And while he does this, he unravels a sort of bigger conspiracy. So it's nothing overly complicated or anything that you haven't seen before. But for me, it was nice to just watch an animated movie in a brand and a lore that I'm already familiar with. And it wasn't that long, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good take on The Witcher. I thought it was better than really anything that's come out of the Witcher live action series, because that really took a tumble into from like the second to the third season. They started making all these changes. The Witcher itself is based on a novel series, Polish novel series, and so it does have books. It's like a sort of lore. CD Projekt Red's Witcher kind of has some liberties with that lore, but makes it way better. And the Netflix show, although it had a really strong start, it kind of went to the tank, pretty quickly, and which is unfortunate. But as a Netflix kind of cash-in animated film, I thought this was perfectly digestible and enjoyable. So if you are a fan of The Witcher, and especially if you like The Witcher 3 and you love the voice acting in that, I think that you're going to have a pretty good time with The Witcher Sirens of the Deep. So the next question I have is where this rank. It's very this is tough for me.
So as you're thinking about this, I will say yes. I never got into the Witcher games. I not seen, but heard of obviously the Netflix series Henry Cavill, and I heard so many mixed reviews because I thought about seeing it. And the
Mhm.
Castlevania animated series, I want to see. Like that's one of those shows. Like
You should see.
I know, I keep telling myself, "Oh, I need to sit
It's
down and
good.
watch this. Sit down and watch this."
It's
And
solid.
we're watching too many movies, but no, I definitely want to see it.
I
It's
know.
on my.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, the Witcher series and that universe as a whole, I don't know much about. I just never got into the games. So yeah, I never got into the shows. But I also think, Soto, if I'm not mistaken, this is only the second animated film you've reviewed. I think what
Yeah.
Suzumi, if I'm saying that correctly, was your first
Yeah.
one from way back. So
Hmm.
yeah, no, I
Yep.
mean, I will be honest. I mean, you've probably seen a lot of anime. Um,
Hmm.
but the fact that you've only done two so far, I mean, yeah, no, that's Let's just see. Let's see. Is this as high up as Suzumi? I don't even know where you have Suzumi. Oh, that was high up. Oh no, 22.
It's high up there.
Let's see
Yeah.
though where you put Sirens of the Deep.
Oh, this is hard.
It gets harder every
Um,
week. It gets hard.
yeah, because it's not like anything to write home about. I enjoyed it. Um, it comes down to, did I enjoy this more than The Beekeeper? I mean, I really liked The Beekeeper. That made me laugh a lot. And then I'm like, well, did I enjoy it more than The Founder? I mean, The Founder was good, but I hated the main character.
But he was
The
meant to be
accountant was
unlikable.
stupid.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
He was, but that's the true story of what happened. Like, he really, I mean, it's not right or wrong. It's just business. That's how business works. Um, so right now, yeah, as I think about it, because it's very middle of the road for me. I think I'm going to put it at 35 underneath Beekeeper.
And above Founder.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to put it. That may change, but that seems right. That feels right for me. It was kind of just I needed something to watch that was going to be easy and digestible and would just count as a movie. And it was entertaining throughout the whole thing. It had a plot. It was a predictable plot, but it was basically The Witcher fan fiction. Not fan fiction, fan service. And if you like The Witcher, you're gonna love this. And again, it's way better than stuff that happened in season 2 and season 3, the live action one. I thought if it had gone in this direction, yeah, I know that there's money to be made in live action adaptations. I get it, but sometimes I feel that video game adaptations, they do lend themselves better to animated adaptations. It just is a little bit of a smoother transition. Uh, there were some stupid things that were in the animated movie though that were like harkening back to the show. Just kind of like visual things, like how Geralt looks like when he takes, his toxins and how his face looks. It was more like the show than the game. So I was kind of like iffy about that. But again, overall, it's a serviceable movie. And like we've talked about and joked about, like the 30 to 40 range is kind of the most middle of the road part of our list right now. That's like the group where you're like, it wasn't great, it wasn't bad, it's middle of the road, 30.
Yeah, no, that's a tough area. But I will say this, Soto. You have officially reviewed your 70th film.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is
Holy.
the definition of middle of the road film because this is literally the halfway point of your list. So I mean,
Yep.
just to give it perspective for the fun of it, my 35th film is The
Mhm.
Nice Guys. That's where that ranks right now.
Oh,
So
cool. All
yeah,
right. Yeah.
as things, it's so weird because yeah, I look at things above it and below it, and we're always like I know last week I was talking about the bottom of my list, and I did have to clean that up a little bit, which I
Mhm.
did. I don't know if I did that on my Google's doc yet, but either way, yeah, I continue. Every time I do this, I look and I think about it. So, but yeah, 70 films for you, and Witcher was 35. So, definition of a middle of the road film.
Of
So,
middle, literally middle of the road.
but Soto, let me tell you about my first movie. So last Saturday, as we kind of discussed in a couple of our podcasts, it was Jill's and I our anniversary, 11 years, and
Ah, yes.
so
Very
we
nice.
we didn't go out to eat. We got some food, took it home, or I picked up some food. I'm like, let's just stay home. And there's been a
Love that.
movie that's been on my radar ever since we talked about doing this. And I think this was on Peacock, and so I knew this was something originally that Jill might want to see, and they had a sequel come out. So I'm like, hey, do you want to watch this? And she's like, yeah. Now, Soto, and a lot we've joked about ChatGPT. We've joked about AI and how all this
Yes.
shit is taken over. So with
I've seen
that,
Companion.
I saw the 2022 film Megan. So
Ah,
we're
yes.
talking about AI. Uh,
Scene.
the
Yeah.
concept really spoke to me. I'm like, all right, this is something very interesting. A little bit horror, a little bit action. I know it's defined as like a horror comedy, but I would say a little bit more sci-fi horror. I wouldn't say this is a horror film compared to what we've seen. And for those who don't know, um,
Sci-fi horror. I like that.
sci-fi. Well, it is kind of sci-fi. This was
Mhm.
produced and the story was by James Wan, who, if you don't know, was the director of the first
Oh,
Saw movie.
I
Also
do.
created the Conjuring universe. So yeah,
Huge.
huge guy. Yeah, so he did the story to this. He produced this. He did not direct it. But obviously he has his hands on this. So yeah, this story starts off. The young girl in this, not the robot, but the actual young girl, Katie, Cady. Uh, Basically, she's backseat with her parents. She has like this stuffed animal her aunt gave for her birthday. It's like the new kind of high tech thing because you can talk to it. It will give you pretty much generic but responses but based on what you're saying, but you can also play on your phone with it, and if you feed it and if you're doing things on your phone it will react. So she's playing with the high-tech toy. So basically her aunt is a very high-tech person, but on this car ride, they're going up to a ski resort and the snow starts coming, and unfortunately they get sideswiped by a snowplow. Both the parents
Oh
die,
God.
and young Katie's the only one
Oh
that
Jesus.
survived. So little Katie goes to live with her aunt, who works at this high tech company. Now her aunt's the typical I'm not ready for this. I didn't really want kids kind of person. She's into her
Hmm.
work. But obviously she loves her sister, even though they haven't really spoken much in the last, 5-10 years. But she takes Katie in. She wants to do her best to obviously give her the life, try and give her a life and take care of her. So, that's that story aspect to it. So she's trying to get back to work. She invites Katie to come, and yeah, her boss is on her because these toys that these little stuffed animal toys that they've been producing cost a lot of money, and now the competition is doing kind of the same toy at half the price. So that's what and they're
Oh,
trying to
love
figure out a
that.
way. So she's doing this. She's also secretly, she's built, in college she's built like actual robots. Nothing like on the extent of Megan, but things that can kind of interact with you. But her and her team have been working on basically the ultimate toy, Megan. Megan stands for, now the weird thing is it's Megan, but it's like the movie's called like M3GAN because it's called Model 3 Generative Android. So
Oh, okay.
that yeah, so FYI, that's why the three is in there because it's I don't know Model 3 from all this. But anyhow, so they're trying to show their boss, hey, this is the new toy. We need to look to the future. And obviously the first test kind of fails. They don't even have like the face on. So she feels like she sees Katie, they're not things aren't going well, because it's hard for her, they have that thing in between them. Like they're not talking, everything is awkward. Even though the aunt tries, how again how these movies go, and then you just got to find that one thing. So Katie kind of yells at her, is like, I miss my parents. I just wish someone was there, blah, blah, blah. So, against her boss's wishes, she finishes, like she does, she finishes Megan again. And she basically, it's like they call it, like, she what's the word I'm looking for, but basically like little Katie touches her and they're linked together. So Megan's linked
Hmm.
to Katie, and like she's there to take care of her, and talk to her, and Katie takes to her instantly. Not even just a big sister, but she's just emotionally attached to this robot, like everything in her life. Now the boss sees this like, oh, this is the big toy, blah blah blah, because the whole idea is like, why buy toys? You can just buy one toy and it will be there for your child for the rest of their life. And it's not just a toy, it helps you with parental. So they show some funny scenes like Katie's leaving the bathroom and the doll's just outside. Do you remember to flush? And she goes, so there is some hilarious moments at first. But Shoto, like we know with all
Uh,
AI type of movies, things
yep.
somehow turn for the worse. So obviously the big thing that the aunt tells Megan is like, hey, you're just there to help Katie, emotionally and physically, just protect her from everything, just be there for her. And that
Hmm.
kind of comes to heart with everything she's been doing because, like they go out to this special school where these kids have lost their parents or just tough homes, and this one boy just kind of picks on her, and Megan just kind of just grabs him, scares the shit out of him, and he runs in the middle of the road basically and gets plowed by a fucking truck. And everyone's,
Oh my
knowing,
god.
they think it was just an accident, and now the aunt's starting to suspect, like, is the robot doing, like, she doesn't realize how the robot's turning. Plus, obviously, what do robots like to do? They like to learn. They're on the internet. They're kind of evolving. It's everything Skynet told us, Soto.
I knew
So
it.
yeah, so basically now she's becoming a mind of her own, and the big thing is she feels she's a better protective parent than the aunt Gemma. Um, Gemma.
Oh.
So now you see where this is going. But so I will tell you, first of all, this movie was friggin' awesome. Like everyone, if you
Wow.
fear AI, you're gonna fear this movie. But it paced well. It made you interested in this, because you do know what's coming, especially when you're getting into this. Obviously, anyone that's seen the trailers, you're like, oh shit's gonna hit the fan. But it is well done, and it's sadly and scares you because you're like, this shit can kind of happen. This is literally how Skynet's going to happen. Like, we're going to believe like
Hmm.
AI is helping us, and sooner or later, one of them is going to smarten up. So, yeah, how did you destroy something that knows everything you're thinking? Plus, like I said, Katie basically has this emotional bond. She doesn't want to go anywhere without Megan, almost treating her like her mother. Like she tells her everything, tells her secrets, and that now obviously breaking into what Gemma should been trying to do with her niece. Just like I'm trying to become a mother figure, but yeah, this thing does her this Megan doll, whatever you want to call it, does horrific things. Like if you like dogs, people don't watch a certain scene. That's all I'm gonna say. It's coming.
Oh no.
Well, they have a neighbor, and like the aunt's just like, keep your dog off my lawn, blah blah blah, and the neighbor's just being a pest. She's got like this spray that she sprays over her lawn. It's coming in her lawn, like. But yeah, the dog, because it accidentally bites Katie because she's trying to reach for a toy. Megan does not take too lightly for that, and the dog disappears. They kind of, so we'll just leave it at that. So yes, if something happens, and I'm just forewarning, but no, so this is actually a very good movie. It's not an all out horror movie, but there's some things that make you think. Like, so if you saw this, I'm not going to say you're going to be scared or pissing your pants or anything like that, but there's definitely some tense moments, even though some of it is predictable and some of it's quite funny. Just seeing the doll just kind of dance and stuff like that, and just some of the responses is just hilarious. But then you're like, shit, man, this robot could do that. But no, I actually will see the sequel whenever it does come out on streaming for free. I'm not gonna pay for it, but I'm interested where this is
Hmm.
going, and I don't know much, but I've also saw that there's a spin-off called Soulmate where the A is an 8, so I feel like there's a second character in Megan 2 that I don't know about. So now there's this whole universe going on, but no, this was, like I said, well done. Again, cheesy and predictable at parts. It is a typical, I don't want to say horror movie, but you can just see where everything's going. But it's done well enough where I still enjoyed the ride. It wasn't like, oh, I've seen this in so many movies. Oh yeah, nope, this is gonna happen. Some things did surprise me, like I said, just some of the death. And there's God, I wish I can remember. The boss is played by like a comedian, Roddy Chang. I've seen some of his stand up. Fucking hilarious guy. When I saw him, I'm like, I can't take him being like the asshole boss, seeing some of his stand up comedy. That's the only thing that threw me off. Funny as hell, though, again. But yeah, so I will say this, whether or not you see it this year. Have you seen Megan? Have we talked about this? Have you ever actually saw this movie?
No, I mean I'm aware of it, but you said it was directed by James
No, no,
Wan or
no. He
written
he did
by
the
James?
story. He did the story. Yeah,
Okay,
it's a story by and produced
story by.
by. So
It's
he
like
has
George Lucas.
basically created it. Well, no, because I think
Get
someone
the idea.
I'm kind of looking at the whatever the credits right now. So yeah, he didn't direct it.
Hmm.
He didn't do the screenplay, but he did create the story. Like I don't know how much of the Conjuring universe he screenplayed and how much he did like maybe his story too. So yeah, he created Megan. He created the story, and someone else did it for a screenplay. But he also produced it, so I know his hands were on it a lot. But yeah, so
Yeah,
James,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, he didn't direct it though. I don't even know the guy Gerard Johnstone. I'm kind of looking up. Yeah, no, the only thing he's done is a sitcom called The Jackie Brown Diaries, but he did horror films Housebound, Megan, and Megan 2.0. So, but yeah, James Wan has his hand in it. So yeah, if you're a James Wan fan, he seems to find a way. He does all these different horror styles, and I think that just it's brilliant. Like you look at Saw, which I know you're not a fan of. You got the Conjuring universe.
Mm,
It's just not. It's not. He
I
doesn't
like
have a
Conjuring.
single mo. He has a way of just doing different things that are successful. So he has a great brain for it. Oh,
Hmm.
all right.
He's
So
he's pretty much running the horror business right now. He's like the biggest name in horror currently in this like period. So
I would say definitely say so with what he's done. Sorry, I'm kind of looking where I put this on my
Mhm.
list. So I will definitely tell you this is
Well, you
top
liked
20.
him.
This is top 20. 100% top 20.
Hmm.
Because I'm looking at like what's at 20 and 19, and I'm kind of crawling up, and I think that's a good spot. Again, we say this countless times. This could change. Um, I just feel like what's above it, I did enjoy better. There's a lot more originality, but I'm going to put this at 15. It's going under Coherence, going above Colossal. Um, I
Wow.
think that's kind of where it's at right now. I feel kind of confident about that because again, like I said, it's James. There's something brilliant about this, and there's something, you know. I don't want to say scary, more of a thriller. Like you're a little, we've watched so many movies, Soto, that it's hard because, like, I know me and you, we've seen so many things. We know what's coming. We know a lot of things. Like, all right, this is probably going to go in this direction. Blah 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 blah. People who don't watch as many films maybe not get that like we do. But like I said, even though some things were predictable, some things you can kind of figure out, the tension, it kept me going. I never found myself bored watching this movie. Like I said, I am 100% going to see the sequel. I don't know much about the spin-off, which I'll probably learn in the sequel. So I might see that, but I'm definitely going to see Megan 2.0 whenever it comes to Peacock, Netflix, or whatever. But yeah, I like this Soto. I definitely highly, suggest it. It's hard for me to call it horror. I would call it more suspense, definitely sci-fi. But if you're scared of AI taking over, stay away from this film because to me, this is a legit way that AI would start taking over. If this, that's it. That's
Yeah.
all I can say at the moment. So, but, but Megan, yeah, it was. I was pleasantly surprised. So,
I mean, yeah, I've heard mixed things about the second one, so I will be interested to see what you think about that.
well, most likely I won't be able to see it this year. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
You
If it
never
comes
know.
out in time, I haven't actually
Never
looked. But like I
know.
said, just the way the first one ended and the way I enjoyed it. And I will say this without saying too much, and I'm not going to spoil for anyone. If they never made a Megan 2.0, I'm fine with it. Like there is a definitive, there's a lot of definitive ending. It does not need to continue. It's not like some horror movies, which we question, like, because I know we joked about Terrifier 2, the way that ended. You're like, oh, okay, well, there's going to be a next one. If there was, and that was a good thing. They ended it just like, hey, if we don't do a sequel, that's fine. This is the story. This is the ending. And I was fine with it. So the fact that there is Megan 2.0, I am happy about. I haven't heard much. Yeah, a lot of things aren't as good as the original, but I will give it a shot, and I'll just leave it at that at the moment. So,
Hmm.
but Soto,
Like Wreck 2.
but Soto, you, your first movie you talked about, you had to clench your palate. You saw an animated movie. You're happy. I had to do it last week with
Yeah.
Inside Out too. I had to put myself in a happy place. I 100% understand. Surprisingly,
Mhm.
though, you stayed in the animated movie genre. So let's talk about the
I
second movie
did.
review, and again, why you chose this one, because
Did.
I got to hear about
I
this.
did. I did. And again, I'm just in that vibe right now. It's because you were talking about going back to Pixar, right?
Yep,
And seeing as how I spend so much money every month on Disney Plus, I figured I might as well actually use it. I have two confessions to make.
that's a smart choice. Go ahead, I'm ready.
I have two confessions to make. Uh, and in this house, we don't listen, or we listen, but we don't judge.
Okay, listen. Okay,
It might be.
all
It
right.
might be the other
Can we
way.
repeat that?
It
Because
might actually be the other way.
let me just clip that first part for your wife. Hey, Sarah, in this house, he says he doesn't listen. What that son of a bitch? Anyhow,
In this house, we listen, we don't judge. Okay.
okay.
I love Pixar movies.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh hell yeah.
I've been a big fan of Pixar movies, but I have lost the plot on Pixar movies. I just stopped watching them. I just got to a point, very much like other things in my life, where I just didn't watch them enough. Whether or not I didn't watch them in theaters, I never got around to it. I mean, it was a very difficult part of my life. So there are two Pixar movies that I have not seen, in particular. First one that I have not seen, I've never seen Up. Okay, the one with the old man, the
Ooh,
balloons. I've never seen
yeah.
Up.
Okay.
The other one that I have never seen, Chad, I've never seen Toy Story 3. I have never
Oh.
seen Toy Story 3 from the beginning to end. I
Oh.
know like some plot points, and I know obviously the major plot point, obviously that happens, but I've never actually watched Toy Story 3 from beginning to end. So, we'll see. Obviously, if we end up watching either of those movies for the rest of the year. But I wanted to get back into Pixar and see what I have missed. And the first one that stood out to me was the movie Coco. A, I just I love Day of the Dead motifs like completely. I love it. It's I just love the whole thing. I love the idea. Obviously, growing up Hispanic, although I grew up Puerto Rican, I grew up in California, which is very Mexican, and sort of I knew all this stuff, and I just always liked the face paint and the whole cultural idea about Day of the Dead. I loved it. And so I just wanted to watch something. And to be honest, this is my own personal experience. I don't really get to watch a lot of movies that represent like my culture and me growing up, as far as being Spanish and Hispanic. Um, when you grow up in the United States, a lot of your media and your culture is really white based. That's not a negative. It just is what it is. My superheroes are white. Everything I see is white. All these things are white. I have no problem with that. But for me, like it's nice when I see representation of like what is my worldview. This is why when I played Spider-Man on PS5, I loved that I got to play as Miles Morales,
Yes.
black Puerto Rican kid, like in Brooklyn. Like, and he was like one of his Spider-Man costumes was like the Puerto Rican flag, like mixed with Spider. And I was like, that was really cool because I don't get that a lot. Like, I just don't in the media that I consume, I don't really get a lot of Spanish stuff. And that's fine. But when I watched Coco, and of course it's in English, it just it revolves around a young kid. Um he's part of a family, like the way it starts off is, down his family line. Um one of his great grandfathers was like a musician that left his family, and the mom was left by herself, and so she with nothing left and having to raise children, she developed a shoe making company and did everything she could, and then made a successful shoe making company, and it got passed along down to the family, and then everything. So this whole family of Mexicans, who make shoes and who've made this business, and so along comes the main character Miguel, and Miguel likes music, but music is kind of taboo in their family, obviously, because everybody remembers that, that great grandfather left them. And so they don't talk about music or anything like that. But so he's secretly playing the guitar behind the scenes and everything. And he's like trying to hide it from his family. You know how the story goes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've seen like every single Disney movie. It's like, he's going to follow his dreams. And through a series of circumstances, he, finds out that he may be related to this famous Mexican guitar player singer. And on the Day of the Dead, he goes and tries to get the guitar to try to play it and see if he connects or anything. And then through serious circumstances, he's transported to the underworld, and then the plot of the movie starts really where it's like, how does he get back? He meets his relatives. How does he, kind of figure out like what's important? Is it your passions? Is it your family? Like what's more important with that? Which by the way, I feel like I've been saying this on the last three fucking podcasts that we've had, where it's like, what do you think is better? Like the things you love or like the things that are important? Like what is better there? But what I found was just a very well done, super great looking Pixar movie, um, with great music, great vibe, great design, great message, all that stuff. I really enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed the music. I felt like a connection to this movie as well. And again, I know you're not Spanish, but so like island Spanish is different than Mexicans.
Hmm.
Sometimes people just kind of lump us all together, but like that's very different culture. Like, because people assume, and we've talked about it, joked about it, in our Saturday podcast, where people assume Puerto Ricans can eat spicy food because they're Spanish. No, that's Mexicans. Mexicans eat spicy food. Puerto Ricans don't really do that. We just don't really fuck around with that kind of shit. We like a lot of coconut in our shit. But just overall, as a cultural thing, I just really connected with this movie, and I love the vibe, and I love the ending, and I love the overall message. It's one of the best Pixar movies that I've seen. And it will probably make me start going towards that direction of catching up on all those Pixar movies that I haven't seen, especially the big ones, right? And I will eventually make my way to Inside Out as well. But I was just so pleasantly surprised by how heartfelt this movie was, and just everything. I know you're big into music. I really like the music on this too. Not a musical, but it did have music in it. I know that we've said that's a big thing. So, yeah, I really like this movie. I really liked it a lot.
Now, as you're kind of looking through, yes, I am shocked, Soto, because based on the time frame when you were at Blockbuster, because
Yeah,
Toy Story 3 was 2010, you were still
yeah,
there. And Up was whatever,
it
I
was.
think 07, 08. I could be wrong about that. I felt like it was before. And I will say this: Toy Story 3 is I yes, there is a Toy Story 4, but 3 is the perfect conclusion to what that trilogy is. 4 kind of
Hmm.
starts the new chapter, and I won't say more. I mean, Up, I can get it. Up is hit or miss with some people, but the emotional impact of that story and everything that goes there, it's
Yeah.
such a. I get that that's not, as a child, if they're children watching this or watching that, wouldn't be big on Up. There might be some parts. There's just more. It's more of an adult story, so you might enjoy Up a lot more than you think you will. Up just surprised me,
Hmm.
but yeah, I am kind of surprised that you did not check out those two. After that, after you left, I can see that. Kind of like with the Inside Out. Like I know whatever else came out around that time. When we left Blockbuster, but the fact that you haven't seen Toy Story 3 just it shocks me. I learned something new.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Soto,
In this house, we listen. We do
I,
not judge.
I'm not judging. I'm not judging. I'm just shocked and I am surprised. I'm not saying what the
Uh
fuck, Soto. I was just like, I just assumed
huh.
because you were still at
Uh huh.
Blockbuster, because
Yeah.
2010, because I just I was
I had a
like,
lot of different things on my mind, dude. I mean,
yeah, it happens. It happens. Yeah.
I was really into substance abuse at that time. That was more important to me than anything else.
That
So,
was right before you lived with
but
me.
here we are. Yeah, but here we are.
Here we are.
Just trying to catch up. And so that's the story, of how I got. I watched Coco. I'm happy to watch Coco. I think it came out in 2017. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm
I
totally wrong
feel
on
like, I
that,
mean, I
but
couldn't tell you. Definitely feel
almost
like it's the
10
last 10
fucking
years.
years ago.
Yeah.
It looks great though. Like, you put this movie, like, you buy this movie on Blu-ray, it's fucking amazing. I think the next time I watch it, I'll probably end up watching it in Spanish, because there's a Spanish version of it, just to have it feel more natural to me. But overall, I mean, it was fantastic. It's a movie I'll definitely watch again.
All right. But the question now is, where do you rank this? And the
Yeah,
fact that you might let, you said you would buy this on Blu-ray. All right, let's see. Let's see
yeah.
where you're going with this. Where are you going with Coco? You enjoyed it. It's got music, but
Yeah,
not a
Chad, I'm
musical.
gonna tell you right now, this movie is and again, I preface this by saying I will probably have to redo some things, but
As we always
this
do.
movie's gonna be number 8 for me
Ooh.
overall. Number 8 behind Eraserhead and above Paddington. This is in my top 10 for this year of movies
Paddington
that I've
2
seen.
going down. Wow.
I
It
like
makes it makes
Paddington
sense.
2, but I didn't emotionally connect with Paddington 2 as much as I did with Coco. Coco was It was legit, and it's like it really pulled on my heartstrings with shit like, family, and then like what happens to you when you die, and like how you don't die until like you're forgotten, and like how your like ancestors and people that love you, like will continue to like put your picture up and allow you to come back because it's like you still have that connection to the world after you die. It's like people will still keep remembering you, and how that is like such an important value for family that extends beyond, just the family that you have here. It's like it extends to like, the future and everything, and it just connects you to everyone who's ever been watching over you and everybody who you'll be watching over. It is a really good theme.
No, I heard a lot of good things about it. Just like you, kind of stopped watching Pixar movies after a while. I think when the family wanted to see something, we did check it out, especially when the kids were a
Mhm.
little younger. But no, that sounds good. Like I said, just two different kind of animated movies in the same week. So,
Oh, much different animated movie. Much different, much different.
but Soto, let me tell you about why I chose my second movie. I think I ended up seeing this on Netflix or Prime. I'm not exactly sure. Again, I was just kind of perusing, and I saw this, and this was something I kind of forgot. I don't want to say it was on my radar, but so last year, last fall, when we talked about doing, like, we were trying to do movies, and we did, we did like the Olympic scoring, though it never came to fruition. We saw those scores.
Oh yeah,
That came
yeah.
around October, and there was a movie Jill and I watched. Would You Rather? I don't know if you heard about this. Would You Rather? It's basically
No.
I don't say it's a horror movie that uses that would you rather game, would you rather do this? But it's a horror film. So like this rich person brings like six people who all need money. Whoever kind of makes it to the end, will win, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like, would you rather, get stabbed or whipped this person? So I'm not going to go full details. It was just like, okay, there's interest. It actually wasn't for what the concept, it wasn't that bad. I will say this, we kind of enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it was my top 20 or 30, but I was like, okay, it was interesting because it's like, how far would you go if you would hurt someone else as opposed to maybe something simpler on you, blah, blah, blah. And some of it was kind of random. But anyhow, give me 1 second here. Ah, sorry. Had a bug on the wall and it was fucking bugging me. I'm like, I have to do
It was
this.
literally.
It was flying around and I'm like, I had it. There you go. Live and not live. But anyhow, so as I was perusing Netflix or whatnot, I saw this movie called Ready or Not. Now I've heard about this. I know a little bit about this, and it stars Samara Weaving, who this is actually the fourth fucking movie I've seen of hers. She was
I
in
was gonna
May.
say, isn't that like
She was
talked
in,
about it before?
yeah, she was in Mayhem with Stephen Young from Walking Dead. She was
Oh
in
yeah, the virus.
Scream. She did Scream 5 and 6. She was in 6. So hence, and though I didn't talk about her, I forgot she was also in Bill and Ted Face the Music. She did the
Oh
show.
god.
What was it? The show Ash versus Evil Dead. She did. That's kind of where she started. Got kind of known. She played the role of Heather. So yeah, I was a big fan. So I kind of forgot about this one. It's something that I've always go back to these Dead Meat podcasts, so I've heard a lot about this, so I knew, but I'm like, I've never sat down and watched it. So yes, I turned it on, and this movie also has Andy McDowell, Adam Brody, and yeah. So you hear Ready or Not, now you're gonna get why it's called that. So the movie starts off, and you see this young boy, this kid named Danny, and he's just in this huge fucking mansion. Just think like Resident Evil, whatever, Spencer man, there's all these secret passages. You just know it's an old fashioned mansion. And this guy comes up, he kind of got stabbed, and he's like, help me, they're trying to kill me. And then he yells, he's like, he's in here, he's in here. And all the people come out, you see his bride, and they're hunting him down, and they spear him. And you kind of is a
God.
setup. It's a weird setup, so you know what's going on. The bride, though crying, she wipes off of her tears, like, okay, this is kind of meant to happen. So it goes forward 30 years later. We'll just say present day because this movie came out 2019. And Samara Weaving, her character, she's marrying this guy Alex, who's also his brother is Danny, the young kid from the beginning. And so she kind of grew up poor. She not from a lot of wealth, but she doesn't have a lot of family. So you meet all of Alex's family, and they're kind of wary of her. Some love her because like the mom, like, oh, welcome to the family. Others are like, she's just a gold digging bitch. She's here for your money. That kind of thing, that kind of mentality. But Alex like, listen, I love you. don't listen to my family. I'm here for you. Like, this is an actual, they're actually in love. So, excuse me. What happened? They get married. Everything goes off. Everything's great. And then Alex, you can just see he's getting nervous, and he looks at her and he's like, my family have this tradition. The night a new person marries in the family, we play a game at night. Now, Soto, the reason why this family has been wealthy for generations, they created like these games like card decks and stuff like that, like a great great grandfather and shit like that. So they
Mhm.
made their money by selling all these games throughout the years. Obviously, they can't use any name ones that we know. They don't really go into it, but that's how like they got their fortune. They just that so that I'm putting that out there. So she's like, I really got to play a game. He's like, yeah, I know it's stupid, but it's just family tradition. We just got to do it. And so she's like, all right, I'm in. Fuck, kind of like us. Fuck it, I'm in. This, whatever. So what happens is, they go to the dining room or whatnot, and the whole family's there. Like every member, aunts and uncles and cousins have all come from around to this wedding this day. And the dad is kind of explaining how the great grandfather met this guy. That he played this game. He wanted to know how he won. Basically, he's alluding to, without saying, like, he sold his soul. They made a deal. Just to get the wealth and fortune. And he's like, whatever comes up. And, you hear everyone else, like one guy's like, I had to play checkers. And, the other one's like, oh, I had to play chess. There's basically one bad game, which they don't really explain why yet. They're just like, I just hope she doesn't pull that one card, blah, blah, blah. Like, Alex does not tell her anything. So she pulls out hide and seek. And she's kind of giggling like, hide and seek. And now everyone is frozen. Like, they're not really saying anything, but some shit just hit the fan, Soto. So she's just like, nonchalant. She's like, oh, how does this work? They're like, well, you drew the card, you go hide and we seek each. She's like, oh, can I technically win or anything like that? And they're like, well, no, you can get found or just kind of last the night. It's just like, haha. She thinks this is all joke. So Grace, she goes hiding spot. And then Soto, every family member is given an old-fashioned weapon. Now, mind you, like this started in the 1800s, so they're given like weapons that are back then. Some like musket gun, like a spear. Soto, they're hunting her. That's what it is. They pulled like the one game. So she does, and mind you, at first she doesn't know what the fuck's going on yet. Now Alex is like, I can't do this. I can't. So they put him in the room like, this is how things are done in our families. Like, because he's like, I'm gonna get her. We're gonna leave, kind of thing. Like he doesn't even know why he brought her there. So again, she found this hiding spot and she's just chilled. She's just like, God, I'm bored as shit. And she's about to go in the room, and Alex, her husband, now just puts his hand, pulls her in. It's like, listen, just stay quiet. I gotta get you out of here. She has no clue. What happens is, some guy comes in, looks. They don't, because they're hiding, and he goes to leave, and a woman comes in. Or it's the other way around. A woman comes in looking for them, and she's about to leave. A guy thinks it's her and blows her fucking brains out. And so Grace, the bride, sees this, and she's now like, what the fuck is going on? She just saw someone get her in the closet. And they're like, the guy's like, I got her. And he's like, oh shit, that's not her. And they're like, they basically killed a family member. So the family members go and look, and that's when Alex explains the whole story. Like, yeah, you pulled the one card you shouldn't have pulled, and she's like, "Why the fuck you have me play this game?" Samara Weaving's hilarious in this. Like, but she's now ready to kick ass. She's like, "What do we do? He's like, I'll get you out of here," and that's how the whole thing is. Like, survive the night from this family, his family, that is basically hunting her. So it is an absurd concept. I 100% know. Now, Soto, I don't know if you're ever going to see this. I kind of want to ruin the end, so I'm going to put it on.
Why would they be? What would be the benefit of this?
So now I'll get into that. So there is a fear that this family has if they don't play this game, that something's going to happen to them, that they're all going to die. Because again, the dad not knowing, because the joke of the soul, selling the soul during this, and I'm not going to go in the whole ordeal. It's a great story, sure. And so they're like, oh, they're like. That's part of the whole thing. Couple of the brother, like his older brother, is trying to help him out a little bit too, but they're like, "Is this family curse really real?" Because none of them know. That's what they've been told from generations to generations, and so that's why they play. Because if you don't play the game, they're all gonna die. That's in their heads. So what happens is, yes, obviously there's accidental kills. Samara Weaving finds she's got like gun, she's fighting back. She's fighting for her life. And it's to the point where
Oh,
even the husband turns, but anyhow, they capture her, and, finally, and they're going to do like the ritual or something like that. And she breaks herself free, and the sun comes up. And then they're all looking at each other like, I knew it was a fucking dumbass curse. Why do we do this shit? And as, they're talking, they all burst into flames, Soto. Every
what?
member, even the kids, they all just burst. Like blood spurting. It's hilarious. Like she's sitting there and every family, even these two little kids that are 10 years old, every family member is just bursting because the curse is fucking real. So that's the
Oh
most
my
hilarious
God.
thing. Like the whole thing, they're arguing with each other. Like, does anyone know if this is real? Why have we been doing this for centuries? This is why they got the money, but like this is just how it is. Because again, one guy's like, "Oh, I just had to play checkers," but yeah, she pulled the one card where yes, hide and seek, and she gets hunted, and it's supposedly the only game where death is involved. Everything else is just a friendly game. But yeah, because if they
Wow.
don't play, they die. Because they did not succeed in finding her and they did not finish the game, they all died. And like the ghost who kind of made that deal with him, blah blah blah, kind of appears in the chair, looks at her, smiles, disappears, and she's just like, huh. And she's outside. Now we joked about this typical horror ending, cop sirens everywhere, and she's just there,
Oh yeah.
bloodied gown, smoking a cigarette, like not giving a fuck. I will say this, yeah, Samara Weaving 100% carries this movie, but she does it in a way. Again, this is a fun movie. It's a dumb movie, but it's a fun movie, Soda. It's another movie where kind of like what I just talked about. Um, with Megan, that I was just in it. Like I said, there's just not a dull part. You're kind of intrigued. You're like, what the fuck is like you're telling me what? Huh? And that's how you feel like, what the fuck is going on? But you're rooting for her. Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Some parts are very, I don't want to say bad CGI, but there is over the top kills. But Soda, I will say this, and I don't know why. There is a sequel coming out next year. There is a
Oh,
friggin' sequel.
but everybody's dead though.
I don't know that I didn't I this movie did not, again, kind of like what I said with
People liked
Megan.
it.
There is, I will check it out. I'm curious because she's returning. It's called Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. So I'm like, what the fuck? Again, I never expected a sequel. This movie did not seem to need a sequel. I did well enough. Like I'm looking at it now, budget 6 million, made 58. But again, like it could have
That's
ended. I could
great.
never had a sequel. It would have been fine. But the fact that I'm reading now, sequels coming
Um,
out, release April 2026, I'm like, all right, I'm intrigued. So yeah, I'm not going to rush out and see this one. I would prefer to see Megan 2.0 because again, this is just one of those movies, absurd concept, but just go along for the ride. But
mhm.
yeah, I don't know. I'm curious, more just curious how they can make a sequel with her. Like it's not like a new thing. So I'm like, how did she get into this again? So I'm sure it's going to suck. Um, I will see it. So no, but this is a fun horror movie. Like where the other one was kind of you kind of more of a thriller, just trying to be like, oh, what's going on? This one, you're just like, yep, this is absurd. I'm in it. I don't care. Whatever. This old lady who's trying to kill her with like an old musket gun, fucking hilarious to me. They're trying to chop her. So there's all these stories, and again, it's unbelievable. Like, no, this would never really happen, obviously, but yeah, and just her wedding gown just gets soaked with blood more and more as the night goes on. So where do I rank it, Soto?
Yeah.
Hmm. High. Well, I won't say higher than you think, because again, this is close to middle of the road, a little bit better than middle of the road. Um, I like that one better. I think that's a good spot. Yes. So Soto, this is my new number 29. This is going underneath Wreck and above Bad Words. Because again, this movie did not bore me. I did not. I've said this with a couple movies. A couple actually high budget movies. Like I tuned out, and that's the worst thing. Like I kind of was in this. You know, yeah. I wouldn't say top 20. I mean, it was fine, but it was enjoyable. Fine. I mean, I guess I don't know how else to put it. I'm not. I'm not sad that I saw this movie. I'm happy. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, it's absurd. So yeah, if you like absurd horror movies, check this out. Um, that's all I can say. I don't know what more I can say about this. And yeah, Samara Weaving, I don't know what else she's done since I think I don't know her last movie, but yeah, this is the fourth movie we talked about. Jokingly Ryan Gosling with you. I forgot I've seen so many. A couple of them were by accident. I did not expect her. I did see Bill and Ted because of her, but I saw her in Mayhem, and I'm like, I kind of want to see this, Ready or Not. And then yeah, I knew she was in Scream, so that just I was gonna see Scream 6 anyway. So, but yeah, no, she's like I said, she just has a Margot Robbie kind of vibe where she can definitely carry a movie. She can play both like she can look like a psychopath, but just play the heroine at the same time. So it was good. Like
Mhm.
I said, I mean, I don't know if I'll ever see it again. I don't know if I need to, but I am curious where the second one goes. Like it just seems
Ready or not.
why I know it can't be as good, but I'm curious, so it piqued my curiosity. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, ready or not,
Okay.
Soto. Ready or not, here I come. So
Well, we will see.
we will see. But Soto, surprisingly, you got to a third. Not it's not. It's rare that you sometimes get to a third movie. You've done it now, what,
It's a
two,
little
3 weeks?
rare.
It is, just recently, but you've done it the last few weeks. So tell us about the third movie you saw this week.
Well, I don't think it's as good as your movie, Ready or Not. So all right, I'll just come out with it.
Yeah.
The third movie that I saw this week was a movie called The Pope's Exorcist. Now, I do believe this is the second Russell Crowe film that I have seen this year.
Yeah, because you saw
Uh,
Unhinged. Yeah.
yeah, which I really liked. Unhinged. Thought
It was
that
good.
was kind of a classic. And so we're in the Burr months right now, and it's kind of time for a little bit of spooky stuff, which is always for me. And so I came across this, and I was like, oh, Russell Crowe is a horror movie. Okay, um, let's take a look and see what this could be about. Wasn't very long, and it seemed kind of like it might be scary. I mean, it's Russell Crowe. He's a great actor. He's probably choosing a really good movie. Um, so Russell Crowe plays an Italian exorcist, cardinal, pope, to the pope, I guess. I don't know what he is. But he handles the exorcisms for the pope specifically, like he's like his right hand man. Goes around and exorcises, various demons he hears about, whatever. As you can tell in my description of this movie was just like whatever to me.
Mm.
Which I've had a few of these movies in the past, 70 plus. Uh, so Russell Crowe eventually gets called to a house. This family, the father passed away, and he left the family a villa in Spain, or that used to be an abbey. Turns out this abbey's like super demonically possessed, of course. And so the son of the dad has not spoken since the dad passed away. And so one thing leads to another, and the kid gets possessed by this demon, fallen angel, whatever. Russell Crowe gets called to this house, and then, shenanigans ensue.
Shenanigans.
I guess it's based. I guess it's based on like a true dude
Oh.
that was the Pope's exorcist. Like, and because the story goes on, yes, Russell Crowe battles this kid with the demon, and they discover things that about the house that were hidden by the Catholic Church. Because of course, the Catholic Church worrying about demons too is like their biggest scandal is really funny to me. By the way, as far as like the biggest secrets that they're keeping is that is the house that was secretly demonic. On the rankings of like things that Catholic Church keeps secret, that's just really funny to me. Um, Series of circumstances, he ends up, battling this demon, finds out history, whatever. And yeah, like you find out at the end, like that he's a real guy and that he wrote all these books. And it says in the title card, and the books are really good. I'm just like, what? So I don't think Russell Crowe did a bad job in this movie. He plays an Italian, so he has an Italian accent the whole time and speaks in Italian, which was strange for me. But Yeah, this is just it's not even like a bad movie. It's just like not memorable. And this is going to happen a lot as I watch horror movies this October. I understand this. Because a lot of horror movies are just kind of whatever, but I expect it to be a lot more like scary, like jump scares and everything like that, and it was like not the case at all. I'll never see this movie again. That's for sure. It's definitely one of the more forgettable Russell Crowe movies I've ever seen. I expect him to be usually in much better movies. I'm sure people will have enjoyed this, but I found this movie to be just really just whatever. Predictable, boring, and just kind of stupid. Uh, and that's it. That's my review. I have nothing more exciting than Ready or Not seemed like an interesting premise. Had me going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
As you were discussing it. But this movie is just like, yeah, Russell Crowe's an exorcist, and he goes to a house, and the family doesn't know what's going on with the kid. He exorcises them, and he then is possessed by the demon. Dude, no, this I'm not even gonna explain any more of it. This movie's dumb. And it's just, I mean, if you have nothing else to do and you like horror movies and you want to see Russell Crowe in a movie and you have no other options, yeah, check it out. Um, I just thought it was kind of whatever, his definition of just mid. Um,
This sounds
you know,
mid bad,
that's it.
mid. Yeah.
This is this is like this is like bottom back half of the list right now, if I'm being honest.
It definitely
'Cause I'll
sounds
tell
that
you
way.
right now.
Oh.
I'll tell you, dude. It's 55 for me right now.
So underneath Free State of Jones and above your
It
documentary.
might, if Fantastic Fungi might be higher than it. Actually, you know what? I apologize. This is 56
All
now.
right, we are
This
changing
is
it underneath
the Pope
Fantastic
sex.
Fungi and above Furiosa. Oh wait, are
Because
you gonna be like, wait, this
I
is 57? No, we
no, because Mad Max Furiosa sucks ass. Okay, I don't care who hears me say that. Um, at least Fantastic Fungi, I enjoyed it. It gave me great hope and joy. But Pope's Exorcist was just, I got through it. Is it higher than the Nun 2? It's better than the Nun 2, so it can be up that high. Because the Nun 2 was like along this vibe of just like kind of dumb. Although shit, now that I look at it, I'm like, should I put it by Nun 2? Fuck. I might. I might move this down to Nun 2. I'm not gonna do it today,
okay.
but it might fall down further. Although I really hated Only God Forgives. So we're okay. We're gonna keep it at 56 for now. But it is definitely in my bottom 20 of
Yeah.
movies that I've seen. I'll never see this movie again.
Sounds
This
like
is
it.
this is
Definitely sounds like it.
waste of my fucking time. But I got it in.
You
I
did
got
get
three
in.
movies in. I
You
got
got
it
three.
in. Pope's Exorcist was in there, and let me tell you, dude, that is all I have to fucking say about that film.
Wow. Quickest and
Mhm.
probably the most brutal film review you might have done. No, I didn't know nothing about this film. Like I said, I kind of looked at the image. I'm like, oh, Russell Crowe. And I kind of left it at that. I was like, I didn't look into it. Did not, even from the
That's all you
pictures,
need
I'm
to do.
like, does not interest me. So, but you did get
Mhm.
your third film in. But surprisingly,
For
Soto,
better, for worse.
for better or worse, we talked about a film that we both were going to see. Unfortunately, you didn't. But where I'm still going to do a quick review. I'm not going to obviously very spoiler free as much as I can here. Do not
Oh,
worry.
nice.
And that's because I know we discussed this the last episode, and we've been kind of. I know I've been keeping up a little bit with the Marvel universe. A couple of the Marvel movies. I know I saw some of the shows. You haven't. And I did see Captain America: Brave New World, which I even said was like, all right, this feels like the start of what the next phase should be, but they're not there yet. Like you knew where they were going, and I don't want to say I don't remember where I ranked it. I'm kind of looking this up as it's number 43 right now. So yeah, seeing it was more the struggle of Sam Wilson, the Falcon. But
Mhm.
anyhow, so obviously the next one that came out, very much intrigued me because a lot of people loved it, and this felt like the next big step, and that is the movie Thunderbolts, which just came
Heard a
out
lot
on
of
Disney.
things.
A lot of good things, and Soto, it hits. For those who don't know, and
Mm,
I'm going to try and say
nice.
it hit. Well, it hits depending on how you like things, and I'm going to kind of get into that. No, because here's the thing. It
Great.
depends on what part, and I think you and I like the same parts of Marvel, and some people, because there's so many different Marvel movies that some people are like, oh, I love
Mhm.
Iron Man. Oh, I'm not big on the Thor. You know what I mean? So that you'll see why I'm going to say that. Get there in a second. Um, but yeah, it's basically about a bunch of, I don't want to say misfits, but they really play into the misfits working together. People who are just kind of working undercover, just basically being assassins, and they find a way to work together. This gave me, and I kind of read why at first. This gave me Guardians of the Galaxy vibes, and because
Okay. I
now
like
I
that.
love Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm going to
I
say this
love
right
it.
now:
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy much better than this, partly because I think the chemistry was there right away with everyone, and Chris Pratt
Oh my
is
God.
Star
So
Lord.
good.
It was hilarious,
Yes.
and that was that kind of vibe. This is a little bit of a darker tone, but so basically, if you don't know, it's kind of stars what's her name, Yelena, who is the younger
Hmm.
sister to Black Widow. Well, she is a Black Widow as well, because if you saw the movie Black Widow, and she's just kind of figuring out why she's doing this, and she kind of wants. She's at that point in life. She wants to be more. She wants to kind of be out there. Because she's just behind the shadows and stuff like that. And she's put on this mission from Julia Louise Dreyfus. Every time I look at her, she's Julia Louise Dreyfus to me. But basically, like, yeah, just do this one cleanup, and we'll find something new where you're more in the public eye. And
Hmm.
she's on this like quick mission, and also so she's in the I'm just gonna say it's like a big vault, and she's supposed to destroy it all, and she has a target in mind. But when she's there, U.S. agent John Walker. Now, those who don't know him, he is from the Falcon and the Winter
US
Soldier
agent is
show.
in.
Well,
US
yeah,
agent is in the Marvel universe.
yeah. Oh yeah. So
Interesting.
you didn't see the show. So the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he was the next. He was Captain America. He took because
Yeah.
Sam Wilson did
He
not
looks like
take the
Captain America.
mantle.
Yeah.
He took it, but obviously he couldn't really handle it. He even took the serum, and he
Yeah.
got beat, and he went a dark route. That's why Sam Wilson in in the show and in the second movie, or Captain America movie, not the second movie, but his movie, that he was dealing with that. He chose not to take the serum, and this is why. But obviously, he could not deal with the fact of being a failed Captain America, so he's trying to kill Yolana. Ghost, who is from Ant-Man and Wasp, appears. They're all trying to kill each other, and Taskmaster. So it's weird, and you realize it's all. They kind of finally come to the conclusion this is a setup, and they get kind of sealed in, and basically the whole thing is going to go up in flames. And for some reason, there's some
Mm,
random guy in there named Bob. This
of
is
course.
I
Very
hilarious.
Deadpool.
Lewis Pullman, fucking hilarious. And it's his story arc that you're like, all right, why is he here? But once they figure out, so they're like, they want to go their own ways, but at the same time, like we need, kind of, they also need to team together to get out of this place. But they want to get revenge. Hence, again, the team that shouldn't work together do. And the reason why I
Mhm.
say this definitely gives me Guardians of the Galaxy vibes is because what I recently read was James Gunn. He wanted to do Thunderbolts. This was going to be the next project
Mm,
in line for him until he went to DC, the
right.
DCU. So I think there was a lot set up, and you can see why. But this is a lot of a darker tone. Yeah, so I will say this definitely. I love a lot of the characters. Red Guardian, they work well together. This team, I can see it how it's going to go forward, and I'm liking where the direction it's going. The villain, and I don't want to say too much about it. I understand why they chose him. It just did not fit this story, in my opinion. But it was
Mm,
sensible for a first movie. It was. There's a little some parts which are very anticlimactic, in my opinion. So I did like it. I love the teamwork. Again, I saw a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy minus again Chris Pratt, funny as shit, Star Lord. So like you're not gonna get that level of comedy that, and they've had enough. They work together 3 films. They have great chemistry. but you can see why, like, okay, these guys can work together. They're not supposed to. Again, they're always called the misfits. They're not supposed to be anything. So it's basically
Hmm.
the people who don't belong, and I think that's why I liked it. For anyone who just didn't feel like they belong, who wants to be a superhero, because that's what all they want to be. They actually kind of want to be heroes in their own way, but all failed for different reasons. Like I said, the
Hmm.
U.S. agent failed. So it worked, but I just, in my opinion, I don't know why the main villain worked. And it's funny because Jill actually watched this with me. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna watch this here. It was early morning. I'm like, I want to kind of see this, and she doesn't really get into Marvel. She knows some of it, but she watched some of it, and
Yeah.
she's like, who the fuck's Bob? I'm like, I don't know who Bob is. He's just there. So we're laughing at that, but she's questioning, who this, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of stupid, but I get why they did it. And I think there might be more explanation. So I think the good thing is, yeah,
Wow.
they got this team together because we all know what, we know Fantastic Four was next. We know Doom is, the end, not the end game, but the next kind of the big baddie once they get there. So they're introducing stuff. So I did
Interesting.
enjoy it. I just felt like there was something missing that could have just make this so good. And I don't want to say, but I will say this, Soto, see it. This is definitely a very good starting point to what the next phase is going to be. So now, if you
Oh,
did not
hey.
watch the shows, if you did not watch any of that, yeah, you might miss a few clues. Because like I said, he was from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. She did. I mean, that was the movie Black Widow, but she was also in Hawkeye. Like I said, so they all appeared, and it was all their backstory. So you might not know, but even if you don't watch it, you kind of get the vibe of what happened. So it's not like you need much explanation. It's really just her story. She's kind of the main character. So if you saw the movie Black Widow, that might be the only thing I suggest seeing before this. More for just Yolanda's her character because she's kind of the star of this. So that's the only thing. Everything else you don't need to see. You don't need to see the shows, this and that. Um, but no, it was good, Soto. Just not, I don't know, just not where I thought it would be, and I think that was just the villain miss. But again, you see the chemistry happening with it. It's not there. They got some of it, but so again, I love Guardians of the Galaxy, but the main question is, Soto, where the fuck am I going to put this?
Ultimate question.
Now, I will say
Yeah.
this is definitely 100% going higher than Captain America: Brave New World. Um, that was
Okay,
just
that's
that.
good.
Yeah, because that again, I think the only good part was more of the Sam Wilson character, and what his that was just the character arc, and that also kind of will lead into the next thing, but it wasn't big. And Harrison Ford and the Red Hulk was just a fucking waste. Um,
Wow.
it was. I felt like it could have been more. Though I know the original actor passed. Oh, all right. This could change. How many times have we
As
said this?
always.
This actually might go
Yes.
up. I'm just feeling it here in the moment. I mean, it's my top 30, and I'm
Hmm.
putting it at number 26. I'm going to put it underneath the menu above Happy Time Murders. I feel like it could climb up. I think just the disappointment of the villain is what's keeping it from maybe breaking top 20. So, but again, if this movie sits a little bit, it could. Maybe it goes down. But I would definitely say I see it. If you want to see where this is going with Doom, I think this is a very good starting point. You don't need to see Brave New World. I honestly that you don't need to, unless you're very big on Falcon and why he became Captain America. But you know,
Right.
um, but I think these characters, and I will say, stay for the end credit scene because there's some little tidbit outside of the big reveal. If you listen to the conversation, that's the secret where you know where something is going. So it's not even the big
Okay.
reveal at the end, where you're like, dun dun, because they reveal kind of the next whatever, something that's coming, which we all
Hmm.
kind of know. I don't want to spoil it. But when you hear them
Hmm.
talking with each other, that's to me the key. And I think that's why I like the Thunderbolts because they are the anti-heroes, but they want to be heroes. So it is fucking hilarious. But it's true. So yeah, 26 right now. I'm feeling good about it. Definitely better than the new Captain America. I will see if Fantastic Four comes out to Disney Plus before the end of the year. That's next in line, I believe, because there's nothing in between. I will see that and review that. But I'll see where all this is going. I've heard mixed things, about Fantastic Four, but I think a lot of people couldn't handle the fact that it kind of took place in the '60s. Who knows? So,
I'll definitely check that out for sure.
oh yeah, no, but yeah. So I would definitely say if you get a chance, see Thunderbolts. Whether you see it this year or not, I think this is again. These are kind of going to be some of the new characters we're going to be seeing, for good or bad.
Cool.
But Soto, that does it. That's
Episode
it.
30.
Episode 30. 6 more movies.
Real episode 30.
142 down, 58 to go.
Oh God.
No Tubi September. I am sticking by this. I don't know what
All
I'm
right.
seeing. No
I,
Tubi
I
September.
I will stick with that too.
Because next month we're gonna be seeing a lot of shit. I wouldn't be surprised if all of October we saw horror themed movies. I would not be surprised.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's spooky season.
It is. But you know what? Sometimes a movie I want to see pops up, and I'm like, I need to see this. I definitely need because like I said, I know some movies I'm going to see next month. I'm saving them. They're on Tubi. They might be on something else, but they're definitely Tubi quality. So, but Soto, that should do it. 30 down. We got 4 months to go. September, October, November, December.
30,
So
30.
about 11 to 12 weeks. So if we just average 2 each.
4 months.
Yeah, we will be right there, kind of right there. So yeah, 16 weeks. Yeah, so as long as we get to our 2, but we can double up if need be. If we got the time. So I know the next 2 weeks might be hard, but Soto, that's it. Guess what? Football just started. That has nothing to do with this. Football just started. So yes, everyone that's listened to this, thank you. As usual, if there's a movie you want to see, just put it in the comments. If it's on Tubi, we can't watch it for September, but maybe next month. But until next time, just watch some movies, some good movies. Just stay away from the Pope's
just hit play.
Yeah, just hit play.
Yeah, don't watch Pope's Exorcist. Don't do it. Dumb.